Me now, we have a product of the TriStar Gym. He'll be taking on Colton Smith of the Ultimate Fighter finale Saturday night. The one, the only Mike Ricci on the program. How you doing, Mike?
Good. Just getting up.
So it sounds like a fun way to start your day. Am I right?
Yeah, literally. I haven't even brushed my teeth yet.
I'm pleased to have you then. I'm pleased to be the first experience of your day. How has all the media attention been having to do all these kinds of things? Has that been kind of a pain for you?
I mean, it gets a little hectic, after like 5, 6 interviews in one day. It gets crazy considering all the stuff I have to do, all the game planning and preparation for the fight.
Yeah, I guess it would be. So it's probably a good thing we're catching you first, right?
Yeah, you're definitely gonna get the best interview. I mean, as the day goes on, it's more like just answer with yes and no.
Well, I'm privileged to get you first, like I say. Just talking about TriStar, just how much confidence does that instill in you training there, knowing that no matter what happens in a fight, that you're probably not anything that you haven't seen before in the gym, working with such elite players in the game.
Yeah, it definitely gives you a level of confidence, knowing you've seen everything. As an athlete, I feel like I've seen everything that Colton has done so far in his career. I've watched all of his fights in the house, and I don't think there's going to be any surprises for me. I mean, I don't think he's going to invent some new crazy wild punch that I've never seen before. I guess it just comes down to timing and reaction and being sharp, and making sure you don't make any mistakes. I think that's what it comes down to at this level, because everybody's seen everything.
Yeah.
It's just it comes down to that. I think the first guy to make a mistake.
And how do you feel that your skills match up with Colton's?
I think I'm definitely a more versatile, athletic fighter. I have a lot more tools than Colton. It's no secret that Colton's bigger than me. That's pretty much his biggest tool in this fight, me being a natural lightweight.
Mm-hmm. And how are you preparing to fight Colton, knowing that he is having that size advantage?
Well, I mean, I've been fighting, fairly large welterweights my past 4 fights. With Jason South was 6'3", Don Waters was 6'1", Mike Hill was 6'2", Magnin was 6'3", so like these guys are all very tall, big guys, great wrestlers as well. I think Colton just possesses a very strong clinch game, which he's definitely going to try to implement, but I mean, it's a fight, and it could go either way, but me and my team have prepared for what he has to offer, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. And I've been reading recently that the Ultimate Fighter experience in the house wasn't the most fun thing in the world for you.
No.
How glad are you now that it's over?
Well, it's not over yet for me. I still have Saturday night. I mean, I know I'm out of the house, but I wasn't able to fully let go of, the mental state that I had to get into, to get through that. I left the house knowing I had another fight, and I'm extremely happy that it's going to be over on Saturday.
Yeah, have you still not kind of unplugged from that house mentality yet?
Yeah, I mean, I've somewhat, I've unplugged, but for the most part, I've never been able to fully relax knowing that I had this, this encounter coming up with Colton. So I've had to hold on to that mentality for a little bit.
Yeah. Does not having to deal with Julian Lane's antics every day make life easier for you?
Oh, for sure.
What was it like having to be cooped up in the house with not just Julian and his antics, but a bunch of guys that eventually are going to be trying to take each other's heads off? Is it just is it as stressful as it seems like?
Even more than I mean, not only do you have all that, but then you have what you're dealing with internally, right? Missing home and stuff. So, I mean, it's just a whole big cluster of just this garbage. It sucks, and I mean, it's better, now that I'm out, obviously. I mean, not being kept up till all hours of the night, people running around, and you got 16 guys and all on different, with different sleeping patterns. Some guys are up in the middle of the night, some guys are up early in the morning. So there's always someone walking around making noise. It's hard to sleep. There's no doors as well in the tough house, so you can hear everything in every room.
Really? So even if you wanted to sleep, there was the occasion with people playing pool in the middle of the night and stuff like that. So even if you wanted to get a good night's sleep, there's no door to close or anything like that?
Exactly, and I've spent a few nights. I think there was like 4 or 5 nights where I actually didn't sleep a wink.
Really? Not at all. And how does that affect you when you're going training on no sleep? That must be nerve-wracking.
Yeah, and then I would go train, and halfway through training, I would go back into the the coach's room and just like pass out, or I would sleep. Whenever I could, I'd fall asleep, and it was tough. I would even sometimes take like melatonin or NyQuil or something to try to help me sleep. Sometimes that would work, So I was dealing with a lot of stuff in the house that I don't got to deal with anymore.
Yeah, and obviously that's a good change of life for you. You can get back to focusing just on Colton Smith. Other than yourself and Colton, this marks the first Ultimate Fighter finale where the card hasn't been stacked with guys from the season. How do you feel about that?
I think that there's some guys in the house that deserve to be on the card, right? Even in the UFC. Feel like Dom Waters and Neil Magny get a contract in the UFC. They're both young and talented guys and great welterweights, but I guess that came down to Dana and Joseph. I guess they weren't too impressed with the season.
Yeah. And how did that make you feel? Because Dana did come in once and kind of read you guys the riot act that, the fights need to be more exciting, you need to be, finishing more, this and that. Did that kind of, break people's spirits when, you have the boss coming in and tell you that, your job performance is not what it could or should be?
Well, I mean, I didn't, to be honest, myself, I can't speak for anybody else. Myself, I didn't really care. I looked at that house like a very serious situation that I was in, and I was going to get out of it one way or another, whether I had to win by decision or by knockout. I was just going to make sure that I got out of there unscathed. That's what I did.
Yeah.
So for me, it didn't really make a difference what Dana said.
Yeah. Well, we've had Bristol Morinde on every week giving us his thoughts on the show, and he said that Team Carwin really functioned as like a cohesive unit, and there was a real sense of camaraderie among the team that was perhaps missing among the Team Nelson members. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, we did have a good thing going. We stuck together and stayed tight. Guys on Team Carwin, like Eddie Ellis and Bristol Morinde, those guys are super guys. I didn't think that I would get along with the fighters in there. I didn't think I would mesh well with them. But those two guys, man, they're super guys. I'll be friends with those guys for a long time.
Yeah, and Bristol always was pumping you up during the season as well. It seems that you guys really got along and had a real respect for each other's talents.
Yeah, we did. I had a lot of respect for Bristol throughout the season. There was guys that I didn't want to fight, and Bristol was definitely at the top of that list. Very, very talented guy.
Absolutely. And the show really seemed to play up the rivalry between you and fellow Canadian Michael Hill, a little Canadian civil war, if you will. Has that beef been put to bed, and what are your thoughts on Hill as a fighter?
I think that it's been put to rest. We shook hands afterwards. They didn't really show that. We spoke in the house and we made peace. As a fighter, I think Mike Hill has a lot of talent. He's very strong. Mm-hmm. I think he might have been one of the stronger guys that I fought throughout that whole show. just needs to work hard. You know, he's really young in the sport. He's only been training for 2 years, and he's already on tough. You know, so I think he's got a lot of potential if he works hard.
Mm-hmm. And what are your thoughts on the Ultimate Fighter format? Like, obviously, say being in the house all the time drove you nuts. There's some people that feel that the show has gotten a little bit stale just in the way it's presented. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I agree. You know, everyone knows what to expect now.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the same dynamic. You know, you got one guy with a mohawk, one guy going crazy, losing his mind. Someone's going to break something. There's going to be some fights, you know. It's getting pretty stale. I really think they should change it up. That's just my opinion. You know, I mean, if it was up to me, if I was a producer, I would start to let the guys out of the house, let them even, you know, go out, even bring people into the house, you know, just give them more freedom. And I think that, you know, it'll change the dynamic and it'll make it far more entertaining. You know, people will not know what to expect, and that's just my opinion, but.
Yeah, well, I would agree with you wholeheartedly. I mean, you look at, you know, reality shows that do well on TV, you know, things like Jersey Shore and Real World and stuff like this, you know, and it's always, you know, it's focused on the people on the show, but there's always, you know, interaction with the public. There's always people on the periphery. And, you know, I think that makes for a more exciting show. I would much rather see, you know, Mike Ricci on the streets of Vegas, you know, interacting with people than, you know, cooped up in his room the entire time. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, guaranteed. And there was actually rumors that this season they were going to take us out a couple nights, right? Even if it's only a couple nights, like, it really makes a difference for the show. I mean, they took us to see a movie. Like, who wants to watch somebody watch a movie?
Yeah.
It's just the way. But I think that's why the ratings are just steadily going down, you know, year by year.
Yeah, and you mentioned, you know, the movie night. I understand they had to do cross-promotion for Here Comes the Boom and stuff like that, but wouldn't it have been, you know, more exciting to see you guys maybe attend the premiere of it or something like that, walk the red carpet instead of just, you know, sitting there in the theater we're staring at you, staring at a screen?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, I don't call the shots, and at the end of the day, you know, I made the most of the opportunity that I was given, but I don't think that, you know, the UFC or FX made the most of it. You know, they could have done a lot more with the show.
Yeah, I agree. And just how much of a change mentally for you is it to be preparing to fight on a UFC card for a UFC contract when earlier this year you were fighting on a low-level card in Montreal and had to watch out for lights falling from the ceiling?
Jeez. You know, a lot can change in a year, right? I just have always believed in my talent as a fighter and knew where I deserved to be. I just knew that I needed an opportunity, right? So, you know, where I am now is like it's a full, you know, full change. I mean, it's like one side to the other, right? Mm-hmm. Worrying about lights falling on me at a show with maybe 100 people there, coming to now, it's like, it's crazy. But, I mean, I'm handling it well, you know. I handled the show well, the pressures of the show, the pressures of this fight coming up. I just know, you know, the level I'm at and what I deserve as a fighter and where I should be. So this doesn't feel foreign to me at all.
Yeah. The light falling from the ceiling in Montreal, was that the weirdest thing that's ever happened to you in a fight?
Yeah, definitely. It fell, it smashed, there was glass everywhere, we had to stop, and then I had a dominant position in the fight, so after a set, and I was really working him. Like, I didn't think after the round that we had he would survive the second, you know, but he had this 7-minute break to recover, and I was like, all right, let's go, and the ref tried to put us back down on the ground, and he's like, no, I'm not going on the ground, I'm not going on the ground, and I'm like, what are you talking about, man? You were clearly on your back, I was clearly on top of you, we're going to start, you know, where we were interrupted. You know, where in the rule book does it say that if a light falls, you start back standing? You know what I mean? We're going to start where we were. He's like, no, I'm not fighting then. I'm quitting. I was like, all right, let's go standing. I mean, I'm not going to have you quit. I'm not winning like that. You know, I'm going to settle you right now. So I almost even, the light fell and the fight was almost canceled because he almost quit, you know. So, like, I'm fighting in shows like that. Guys are quitting. And, I mean,
And now you're at the pinnacle of the sport. You're going to be fighting in front of a packed place, on international television. That must trip you out a little bit, just to have gone so far so fast.
Yeah, it definitely came fast, but this isn't the first time that I've been around anything like this. Like, I was obviously in the Bellator tournament a few years ago, so. Yeah. Regardless of the outcome of that tournament, I was able to, see how things work in a premier organization. The cameras and the scheduling, and everything is so on point. The packed stadium, so it hasn't been my first time. And I've also fought at the Bell Center 4 times. And the UFC is there as well. So I've fought in big venues.
Yeah,
it's really it's not much of a change for me. I've adjusted pretty well.
Mm. And over the weekend, you were backing up your friend and training partner, Rory McDonald, and seeing him take out a legend in BJ Penn. How exciting was that for you to see Rory's ascension to the top of the welterweight division that way?
It was awesome, to corner him in that fight and to be there cage side to see that was great. I think it was like the passing of a torch, and Rory he solidified his place in the welterweight division. From now on, Rory will only fight, top 10 fighters, for the rest of his career. He just cemented his spot, So it was great to see my friend, do that and be there for him while that happened.
Absolutely. And were you surprised that the crowd was booing Rory? Didn't seem to take too well to him, or was that just something that it was left over because BJ Penn is as beloved as he is?
No, I knew that he would get booed. I knew it. I had seen George get booed at one of the BJ fights, so I knew Rory was going to have a hard time. Everyone loves BJ Penn.
Yeah.
So, and that's not that they hate Rory. It's just, they back BJ. They're so loyal to him.
Right. And going back to TriStar, who are some of the people from that gym who you feel are on their way to becoming elite-level fighters that maybe the general public hasn't caught on to yet?
Oh, man. The list goes on and on. First off, we have a dozen UFC fighters at our gym.
Yeah.
But there's tons of guys, just like I was up and coming at one point in that gym. There's a lot of other guys on the horizon from many different weight classes. And it's not happening by luck, that Faraz is constantly having this success with all of his fighters. And he's not just taking care of the ones who are winning, he's taking care of the ones who are just starting out as well. And I think he's building, generations of fighters. And he's young himself. He's 31. He's going to be around for a very long time. And he's going to have plenty of champions.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Mike, it's been an absolute thrill to speak with you. I wanted to thank you so much for taking the time and allowing us to wake you up this morning. One last question for you. It's something that we ask everyone that comes on the program. If you had the opportunity, you get to punch one person from any walk of life right in the face, who would it be?
I can punch anybody?
Anybody from any walk of life.
Honestly, I don't think I would punch anybody. I don't know if you've got that answer before, but there's no one really that I hate. If you asked me that question and gave me some time to think about it, maybe I'd have an answer for you. But as of right now, just waking up, I don't really want to punch anybody.
Well, that's probably a good thing that you wake up not wanting to punch people right at the start of the morning. But anyway, Mike, I really wish you all the best of luck Saturday night, and it's been a pleasure to speak with you. Tell the people where they can find you on the Twitter, on the Facebook, any other internet thing you got going on, and any thank yous or shout-outs you want to give. Help yourself, my friend.
Yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter at Mikey Ricci and on Facebook. Mike Ricci. My Instagram is Mike Ricci Alien Boy. You guys obviously know the gym I'm from, so
yeah.
I want to thank TriStar and Coach Zahabi and John Chamberlain and everyone else that's come down here to Vegas to help me out.
Excellent. Mike Ricci here on In the Cage with Bards on NextSportsStar.com, and we'll be back with more MMA action right after this.